Relating to the group means regarding the performance criteria, the participant that I'm analysing had the same score of 1 in offensive rebounds, which is the same as the group mean total. However, there are some performance criteria that he didn't meet the group standard of, which was defensive rebounds and layups especially. In connection to this, we looked at the difference between a live game and a video game to see if the participant was performing poor on one specific day. However, this was not the case, as across both games, he was below average in the group mean for layups and defensive rebounds. I also looked at the percentages of his performance criteria against another participant in the group. And once again, the layups and defensive rebounds were significantly lower than the other participants. In the notation analysis data, these are the main strengths and weaknesses that the participant I was analysing showed. The positive element of their performance is due to their schematic. I can see the area of movement around the court is great, and relating to their position, a small forward, they need to be able to do this and cover a large amount of distance up and down the court to get into the correct position to score goals. However, the negatives outweigh the positives, as the main area that needs to be improved is definitely defensive rebounds. Now, the technical model. I separated the stages of the perfect technique of boxing out in basketball, which then, after the participant had performed these skills, I compared them to the perfect model. There were lots of positives to analyse after the participant had completed the first stage of the skill, which was boxing out. They made contact with their players, so they knew where they were in relation to the ball and the hoop, which is important so that you get to the ball first, which means you gain possession for your team. So if the participant did this in a game situation, it would give their team more opportunities to score. In contrast, in order for the participant to get to the ball first, they need to have their arms outstretched when they jump. And as indicated on the slide, this was one of their weaknesses. They didn't have their arms outstretched for the ball. On the recovery stage of the technique, one of their main strengths was pivoting away from the basket and then giving an outlet pass. In a game situation, if the participant did this, they would secure safe possession for their team, which could result in them scoring goals. But I would definitely say that their main weakness was not having their arms outstretched when reaching for the ball. Despite this, there could be other factors why they're not gaining possession. It could be to do with how they jump, or their elevation, or their propulsive and braking force, which I will analyse later in the presentation. As you can see on both sets of data, participant 1's velocity at the start of the sprint is slower than participant 2's. This would hinder their overall time at the end of their sprints, resulting in participant 2 running a faster time than participant 1. As I am analysing participant 1, then I would suggest for them to work on their speed, because if we relate this data to a small forward, they need to react quickly and need to be a fast sprinter in order to get past their opponents and so that they can get up and down the court to score. Also, it's not just about being fast at the start of the game. You need to be able to maintain this all the way through the game. And as you can see from the data, participants 1's sprint, their first sprint is a lot faster than their last sprint. So they have fatigued. So I would suggest, again, them working on their velocity, so speed training. We went to the lab and compared the participants' braking impulse compared to their propulsive impulse. As you can see on the first 2 tries, their braking impulse is much higher than their propulsive impulse. A higher braking force means that the force that is being pushed against the ground is higher than the one being pushed back to the participant, meaning that you won't run as fast or you won't jump as high, which is an issue if you are trying to beat an opponent for the ball or trying to get that defensive rebound. I think there are 2 main areas that need improving. Maintaining a good level of velocity all the way through the game, as this obviously is important for a small forward to be able to sprint up and down the court and help their team defensively or when attacking. Also, I think it is important to have a lower braking impulse and a higher propulsive impulse, because a higher propulsive impulse obviously means that the participant will be able to sprint faster and jump higher when contesting for the ball. The only positive I noticed through relating to the force plates data was that participant one's propulsive impulse is higher after the first two runs. However, I still think that they need to improve their propulsive impulse to be consistent. As I said